Hi, Ms. Hamilton.
Hello.
So this is episode 3, 4 of our podcast
6,
from Luna.
7.
We lost count, but so today we're here with Ms. Hamilton.
She is my IB history teacher.
The best IB history teacher AST currently has.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So we're gonna talk about ideal students, tips on academic success, and perfectionism in perspectives. So the first question is, when should a student know that it's enough?
When what's enough?
Like they're basically like killing themselves like in academics. When should a student know like it's enough, that they should take a break for
Like their efforts are like,
Yeah.
you are good enough, it's okay
Yeah.
to take a break. I would say at any point that you feel like your efforts aren't increasing the result, it's beyond time to take a break, right? I think, and studies have shown too, like if you're not getting sleep, you're not able to do a good job. If you're just like, if you're spending way longer on something than you think it should have taken you, or your teacher has told you that it should take you, you're probably not at your like peak mental capacity, and you need to take a break. Maybe you need to sleep, maybe you need to drink water, maybe you need to like
Step
get
away or
out
something.
into the outside, smell some fresh air, right?
Yeah.
All of those things have been proven to help like mental clarity as well. So I would say at the point where you feel like you can't do your best, and like when you are feeling like you're doing your best but you're not making any progress, it's beyond time to take a break.
Yeah. I see a lot of people like always like killing themselves
Yeah.
for like academic like validation, and sometimes it's like killing them and it's enough for them. And yeah. So the second question is, as a teacher, what is the best way a student can ask for help?
Simply ask. I think sometimes teachers, like we have so many students in our classroom, we can't always be really in tune with what's going on with individual students, right? And you might be having a really hard time, but like outwardly you look like you're fine, or outwardly you look like you're getting stuff done, but inwardly you're freaking out or you're confused or something, and your teacher might not know. So I would say the biggest thing you can do to help yourself in that situation is simply just ask for help, or just say, or tell your teacher, hey, I'm kind of having a tough time understanding this, or I'm a little slow at processing this information today, right? Just giving your teacher a heads up so they can try maybe that day or that week to pay a little bit of extra attention to what's going on with you, and help us focus our attention.
Yeah, I think that in my case, when I talk to teachers, like last year, for example, I had you and I told you that I was having a hard time. You were the ones who helped me the most. Miss Joy has helped me a lot when I'm like down in those moments. So I think that definitely asking, just like telling the teacher the truth about how you're feeling is definitely a way that they can like actually help you and understand what you're going through.
Yeah, even like if you're not feeling right, like if you're not feeling like to work or stuff like that, you have anxiety and stuff. Miss Joy has helped us out. Like, I know that other teachers would give an more extended time for you to finish your works, and I have spoken to you in the past, and you will also you were also great to
And
help.
I think one of the things that like your teachers should be realizing as well, and we know, but sometimes it feels hard because we have other pressures as teachers of like, we want to make sure we get through all this content, especially if you're in an IB class. There's a certain kind of content that you have to get through in order for you to be prepared for the exam. So we have all these other pressures that exist on us outside of the classroom, just like you have pressures on you in your life that can sometimes bleed into the classroom. And I think it's just important to like communicate as much as you can and as best as you can to just get on the same page. We're all humans. We're all trying to try our best, but sometimes it's hard.
For me, I really like our little conversations before school when I'm just sitting there in the lockers. I don't know, it makes me feel like, she cares.
I care.
Yeah, like yesterday when we were talking about, I don't remember what we were talking about with Miss Joy, but she impacted me that she said that like we're all just trying to we're trying to do our best at school. Like we're all humans, we all struggle, and we all we're all like lazy sometimes. We all,
Yeah. It's just part of being human. Like, we're all going to procrastinate at some point. We're all going to, like, not want to be doing what we're doing at some point. It's just part of it. I think it's part of life. I think it's part of job. I think it's part of school.
I think it's part of learning, too. Like, you have to learn how to get, like, over your procrastination, like, stage. Especially us seniors. We have senioritis right now. And we have to, like, push through somehow.
Senioritis.
Girl, senioritis is a truck.
Well, and it's hard, like, as high school students, because you're taking all these classes that you might not be inherently interested in. And, like, you still have to do the work, and you still have to learn what you're supposed to learn, or at least demonstrate some amount of learning in order to pass the class, right? And even, I think that's, like, a lesson for life, too. Like, even you have a job that maybe you're going to love what you do, but there's always going to be part of it that you don't want to do. Like, always. There's always going to be something that you're like, oh, I really hate this part of my job.
You're just, like, dreading that part.
Yeah, and so it's, like, finding ways to, like, get past that and, like, motivate yourself to, like, okay, if I do this, then I get to do the thing that I actually really like to do.
Last year, I romanticized last year so much that I was getting, like, straight B's, straight C's.
Yeah.
I romanticized last year so much.
I romanticize your class, miss. Like, every time I have to do, like, the notes, like, the 30-page notes we have to do, I sat down, I put a candle, and I was like, okay, we're going to do this.
You're going to do it.
I got to, like, page 10, and then I fell asleep. But I'm doing it. I've been, like, 10 pages.
Yeah. It's, like, finding ways that work for you, you know? It's, like, and I think that's also part of that learning process is, like, your teachers might tell you, hey, you have to do this thing, and you try and do it their way, and it might not work for you. And so you're going to say, I'm going to do it their way right now, and then next time, if we have a similar assignment, like, hey, I tried it that way and it didn't work. Can I try it this other way? And most teachers would, I would hope, say, try it your way, right? You tried it my way, try it your way, right? If it's note taking or if it's something that, like, there could be multiple ways of doing it to get the same result at the end.
In a realistic manner, what does the ideal student look like for you?
I would say my ideal student is someone who comes to class, like, ready to learn, like, is prepared, is motivated, has a good attitude, like, even if you're having, like, a crummy day or you're tired, but, like, still having a good attitude and, like, hey, we're all here, we got to do this thing. Like, I'm going to try my best. Even if my best is 40% of my normal, I'm going to do my best today. If your best is 40%, you give 40%, you gave 100% that day, right? Yeah. So, like, I would say my ideal student is someone who comes in with a good attitude, comes in prepared, and like, is always open to learning and trying again if they don't do well the first time. Like, I think that's also part of learning is, like, accepting, like, you might not be good the first time, but you're gonna get it if you try again, if you're open to that, right?
Instead of just being like, oh, I have to do this mastery check again for, like, the 6th time.
Right. But it's, like, really trying to understand, like, okay, why did I not pass? Yes. Right? And let me really learn from my mistakes rather than, like, oh, I just need a good grade, right? It's like, okay, but if I learn this stuff, like, inherently I know it, then my grade will be good. So it's, like, ideally a student focuses on the learning rather than the grade. But in some classes that's really hard to do because some classes aren't structured for you to do that or giving you time to do that. And so I would say that's something that as a teacher I'm trying to work on too, is allowing space for that ideal version of a student to be more present, right? But that's a hard job too.
Yeah, something that my therapist and my grandfather always tell me is that, like, if you're willing to give, like, your best, like, that's enough for, like, a teacher. That's, like, the best you can do, just give that, like, even if you're tired, like, if you can give, like, 20% or, like, however you say, like, 20%, 40%, like, give it, like, that amount of, like, percentage, and you're gonna be good because at least you tried.
I would rather have a classroom full of students who are excited to learn and open to feedback and open to having conversations and trying their best than a classroom full of students who are just like, nope, I don't want to be here. I know this, so I'm not going to learn. Or, like, I don't care, so I'm not going to learn, right? Even if it's not something you care about or are excited about inherently, but, like, coming in with good attitude about it, I think makes all the difference. I think that's, like, a lesson for life, too, not just about being a student. But
I think that also, like, for a high schooler that's just, like, trying to get past, I think that my method from last year, just, like, romanticizing your classes, I think romanticizing basically everything, like, from, like, because last year what I did was I got this theme for myself, like this is like pink is gonna be my color this year, so I bring everything is pink, and then I romanticize, and then like, oh my god, like I don't like this class, but like I'll try my best in this class. And I think that worked pretty much for me, like just romanticizing the things you do helps a lot.
Yeah.
But maybe not the guys, you know, like maybe
No,
not romanticizing the people
just the
around you, like
have
they're
in
mean.
mind.
Yeah.
It's never about the guys.
It's never about the guys.
It's like Michelle Obama said, like, girls, like, do not think about boys until you are, like, having your degrees and, like, you're ready to go, because they can be such a distraction. And, like someone thinks, I mean, listen, I know maybe not everyone's going to follow that, myself included, right? But that's okay. But, like, I think the ideal is, like, you're trying to just focus on your life and, like, your path. And, like, if you are on the path that feels right for you, then someone is going to come into your life that, like, fits into that and supports that, rather than, like, you veering off your path to try and be someone for someone else.
Yeah.
Right? Focusing on your education, your goals, your dreams. Someone will come into that and support you and be excited about that for you. I think that it's totally not about the ideal student, but, like,
it's about, like,
path in education and life.
Yeah. So, what is your best advice for a student that's having a hard time?
First of all, take a deep breath. First of all, school is not everything, right? Like, you can't do well unless you are functioning as a human being, right? Like, you can't pass your classes unless you, like, can focus. And if there's something that's taking your focus away, you have to figure out a way to deal with that. Maybe it's not going to be resolved, but figure out a way to, like, put it aside for now, right? So I would say someone who's really struggling, I think a lot of what I see at AST is, like, students have a lot of anxiety about grades, and students have a lot of anxiety just in general. And, like, I also have a lot of anxiety in my life, and it's like you have to figure out a way to, like, put it aside and try and be as present as you can in a particular moment, because otherwise it's everything all at once, and you can't deal with everything all at once. You can only deal with one thing at a time. You know, they say women are good multitaskers, but realistically, you can really only deal with one thing at a time. So take a breath, ask yourself, what is the priority in this moment right now, and do that. Just do that. Just do that one thing. Just do that one thing, and then you can think about something else. Yeah. But, like, trying to force yourself to think about one thing at a time. And if it is, I have an F in 5 classes of my 8 classes, right? Yeah. It has happened, and it happens, and sometimes you just, like, lose control over that, right? You're absolutely super sick, and then, oh my gosh, then I have all these Fs. Like, what am I going to do? You can't fix everything all at once. So if you're in one class that you have an F in, talk to that teacher. That is one actionable thing that you can do. Hi, I have an F in your class. I was sick for 3 weeks. I need help.
Something that my dad taught me is that, for me at least, I have a lot of anxiety ever since I was a kid. Yeah. So something that helped me that my dad told me was, like, start with the things that you think are the hardest. Yeah. Start with that. Get that out of the way, but do it in the best effort you can. Yeah. Then you do, like, things smoothly, like you do the thing at last, the things that you find easy, because then you'll, like, be more at peace. Yeah. Because you'll know that you gave it the best you could.
Yeah. And I would say one thing that helps me too, like, I have 2 very actionable things that I do when I'm feeling overwhelmed, because, like, okay, I'm an adult, I'm a teacher, but, like, these tips help me, and that I also think can help students, is, like, make a list of 6 things you need to do today. That's it. You might have a list of 50, like me, like a zillion unread emails that I still need to do, and, like, so many assignments that need to be graded, and other things that need to happen, right? But I can't do all of it all at the same time. So I'm going to write a list of 6 things that I need to do today. Those are going to be my priorities for today. If I get other things done, fabulous. But if I don't, at least I got those 6 things done that I needed to do today, right? And I just make my way through the list. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Done. Right? Those are my only focuses. And I'm someone who gets distracted, or I get bored, like, while I'm grading is, like, the bane of my teacher existence. And I always dread it. But what I do is I use the Pomodoro method. I know I've talked about it in my classes before. Maybe other people have talked to you about it. But it's like there's literally a website you can use called pomo.io.
Oh, yeah. have a Notion page and I have it, and it helps.
It's
a lot.
so helpful, like, because it says, okay, for 25 minutes, you are focusing on one task at a time. Okay, so for me, like yesterday, I was grading. I was sick, but I was grading because there's so many things to grade. And I was like, okay, I will focus on this one class, on this one assignment. And when I get it done, then I can move on to the next assignment. When the timer goes off, I get a 5-minute break to look at my phone, to go to the bathroom, to get a snack, to look outside, not look at my screen.
Yeah, and I think that
in
that website you can also put like the ambience you want.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I love it. Like, those two things combined are the things that save me and I think could really help students too.
There are a lot of websites actually that I've used that help me like maintain like the work that I want to do, because it's like coffee ambience or nature ambience, and it helps so much actually, because I'm a person who gets distracted really easily. So I just put I love the House Moving Castle, so I put that song for like in loop for like 2 hours. I work on my stuff, and then I do everything so good, and then I take a break.
Yeah. It's important to take breaks.
Yeah, I actually have the opposite problem of when I'm doing something, I get so consumed in it that I have to finish it before I can like do something else.
Yeah.
So when we were doing like our essays or our historical investigations, I would sit and I would read articles and articles and articles, and I couldn't like pull myself away from it. So I had to finish an article, and once I finished it, I had to force myself to like get up and go do something else because my head was throbbing, but I had to finish it. And it's like, you need to like learn what works for you, and for me it works to just like finish something and then go do something else for like 25-30 minutes and then do something else instead of being like 25 minutes.
Well, and I think that's the important thing of trying. Like you have to just try something. And if you just sit there thinking about all the things you have to do, you're never going to accomplish anything, which is overwhelming, creates more anxiety because now you have more piling things up, right? It's like, try one thing. Try one thing. Try one technique for one assignment. If it works, fabulous. If it doesn't, try something else. That's okay. Right? But like, try it. You're going to make progress either way. It might not be as much as you had hoped. It might not be the ideal situation. But done is better than perfect. And that's also a reminder I think sometimes students need to hear is like, having 50% or 70% is better than having a 0. Attempt it. Try it. Try and turn it in on time, even if it's not perfect. I think I have students too, and have had students who want to do so well on the assignment that they don't submit it on time, but then it becomes so late. And it's like, well, now you've just limited yourself to a late grade because you wanted it to be perfect. But if you had just said, you know what, done is better than perfect, I only had this much time to work on it, so I'm just going to turn it in on time with the best that I can up to this point, and that's just going to have to be what it is. Then, and maybe my teacher will let me do a redo, but at least get it in on time, right? And I think it's better to have, from my perspective, I'm not speaking for all teachers, but for me, I would rather students turn something in, like, not totally done, and say, listen, this is on me, I procrastinated, I didn't spend my time wisely, but I want to do really well. Is it a possibility for me to continue working for, maybe a slightly, whatever. And I'd rather have that conversation with a student and see like, oh wow, you really want to do the learning, but you were also trying to be timely. So now we can have a better conversation, and you'll, for me, I'd rather you learn than care about the grade so much. But we all have limits to what we can offer or do or make deals with. But I'll say communication is key in life. It's key in jobs. It's key in school. Like, talk to your teachers. Talk. Like, don't avoid because you think it's going to be a hard conversation. Just because you think it's going to be it might be a hard conversation, but it's better to have it and get on the same page than like wait to have it, and then it's just going to like eat away at you. Conversation might end up being the same either way, but now you've just spent all this other time worrying about it. So just, done is better than perfect. Have the conversation, move on. Like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
This was a fabulous conversation. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, me too. Thank you
Honestly,
for everything. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye, guys.